The next section for the methodology is the participant section, or for some research papers, they call it the sample. Now, what is in the participant section? What's the difference between a participant and a subject? If your research participant is non-human, like a lab rat or a mongbin, we call it subject, research subjects. But in a research study, we call it research participants. Now, what is found in your paragraphs for the research participants? First, you need to describe who they are. No mentioning of names. You need to use general characteristics. Before we have a section for locale, research locale. It means, or research setting, where will I conduct the study? But there are some issues concerning whether it's ethical to name the school or not. So based on research, if there are some confidentiality issues, did not name the school. Instead, you can describe it through its general characteristics. For example, we say, the research participants are grade 12 students. Or you say, are grade 12 students, and their age ranges from 16 to 19 years old. Most of them are males, while minority are females. These students, because you need to describe the characteristics, these students attend in a private sectarian school located in Mindanao or in Valencia City. The name of the city can be dropped, but not the specific name of the school. You can just make an estimate for the age range and for the gender, but in your final paper, you need to specify the distribution of the gender and also of the age range. So for example, if in your proposal paper, you just say between 15 to 19 years old, but in reality, your participants only, their age only range from 16 to 17, then you need to report this in your final paper. In the gender, you just say most of them are males, but in your actual data gathering, you need to say 70% are males, while 30% are females. Next, then you need to tell us how many are there, or how many is your target number of participants. For example, in my study, I specified I have 60 target participants, 30 for each section. Because you see, remember in our stat class, when n is greater than or equal to 30, that is considered large. So I pegged with 60, 30, 30. But in reality, at the end of my study, there were only 54. So I need to, from my proposal of 60, in my final paper, I need to say there were only 54 students left. The next, how are they selected? What's your sampling techniques? Like if you say, I'll conduct the study to 30 grade 12 students. How did you choose the 30 grade 12 students? Is it in simple random sampling? Is it in stratified random sampling? Systematic random sampling? Cluster random sampling? Or do you go for non-probability like the convenience, snowball, purposive? How did you select the samples? Ma'am, you have mentioned a while ago of intact classes. Yes. If I say intact classes, I could not choose the sample inside. So I'll do matching. I need to see that group A is matched with group B academically. Now, ma'am, how did you do randomization? I did simple random sampling in choosing which group will be the experimental and which group will be the control. But with the participants, it's in intact classes. Now, example, how do we state it? We randomly selected 100 children. This is a sampling technique. You could specify through simple random sampling the number, how many are there, and we describe them from the elementary schools of Cebu City. Or let me give you another example in my study. Let's just identify the basic parts, okay? Now, the sample included here, 2 classes of grade 11 students enrolled in STAT and prob class. Next, how do I describe them? They are STEM students. Randomization or sampling technique. Random assignments was applied in choosing which intact class serve as a control group and which will say do the experimental group. Next, the number of students, 28 and 25. And this, I say it's homogeneous. It means they are equal or equivalent. Now, for the distribution of sex and age, here, I presented a figure. This is the actual in the final paper. But in my proposal paper, it's only in an age range and also in the gender target. Or another one from the study of Ilumbat et al. In 2019. Very short. The research respondents were the grade 11 senior high school students. This is a no this time, okay? Now, what is missing? How many students are there? You need to spell that out. And they added this criterion. Participants should have clear eye visions. Why did they specify it? Because their study was on font types. And if a participant doesn't have a clear eye vision, maskin unsa pa na ang font type, it will affect. So dapat clear ang vision so that we need to control only the font type. So that's an example for the participants.